happy final morning from the Greenbrier in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia, and welcome to our final edition of Big Blue Kickoff Live. That'll be at 10:30 from training camp on the road. We'll be back on Monday at our normal time at noon, back from the Quest Diagnostics Training Facility in East Rutherford, New Jersey. But our final show here today, John Schmeelk, Brandon London, wrapping things up for you from West Virginia. The Giants have two more practices, Belon. They got one today. They got one tomorrow. Yesterday's practice was a walkthrough, by far the longest walkthrough I have ever witnessed in my entire life. It was over 2 hours of walkthrough. John Harbaugh even when it's a walkthrough, there's a lot to get done. But I would expect today, coming off a day off, being back in pads is going to be a rather heavy day, and they are going to try to get a lot done. Tomorrow, I bet you will be the same thing, given that Sunday's an off day.
Yep.
So I think we're going to have two more fun days of practice coming up here.
Well, first and foremost, this being the final show of Big Blue Kickoff down here in West Virginia, I just want to pat myself on the back for finally making it the final cut with the New York Giants. You know, cut down the final days were dark days for me back in the day, being put on the practice squad. But that was a joke that didn't land. Schmuck's on his phone.
Oh.
I thought you laughed at it or whatnot, but
I heard it. Sorry.
But yeah,
Text from home. Apologies.
With that being said, that walkthrough yesterday, I know it wasn't that much fun in the sun for us because we were just kind of standing around watching and all, but I got to see, again, a little bit more of that Harbaugh effect and what you said about.
Tell me about it.
They're going to get things done. And yesterday was very intentional because, okay, although you couldn't go full speed, you saw a lot when it came to blitz pickups. You saw their answers to certain blitzes and hot routes. And that Matt Nagy offense with Jackson Dart still picking up and being comfortable with that offense. You saw the mix and match of receivers. What receivers are starting to kind of carve roles out for themselves and garnish and get some sort of targets. You also saw, defensively, what this defense could look like in terms of different packages. You see guys being mixed and matched. You saw Javon Holland in the slot a little bit. So it was a much needed day off in terms of legs. You didn't want to run around, go full speeds, but in terms of picking up the playbook on both sides and going back to Coach Coughlin, knowing then I think they got a lot of work done yesterday, and you could see that because there's a lot of communication going on the field.
Yeah, and you're not allowed by CBA rules to have padded practices for 4 straight days.
Yeah.
So you have to either do a full speed unpadded practice, or yes, John Harbaugh decided, look, we'll give the legs a little bit of a break. I was talking to Odell the other day after he did his media availability. He's like, yeah, look, this is like prime camp legs. It's time, right?
Yeah,
you're in week 2 of camp, and your legs just aren't where they need to be because this is kind of where you start. The rubber starts hitting the road. People aren't getting put on the practice squad second week of camp.
No, but I was just saying, it was just the final Big Blue Kickoff. I made the final show. It sounded like a good joke in my head, and then the lights, camera, action goes on. It was like you didn't even acknowledge it, but it's okay.
You can't hit them all.
No, not at all. Not at all. No.
All right, so let's look forward to today a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a very heavy practice. We did red zone, the last full work practice that they had.
Yep.
What are some of the things that maybe you haven't seen them work on yet that you still think you would like to see them do a little bit more of?
I think right now you can control it, do a little bit of goal line, especially the tight goal line, kind of see what that package is going to look like, especially with the pads. And let's say someone does get nicked up, because of the banging. You've got a lot of time before that first game for that person to kind of heal up.
So like live 9-on-7 goal line?
9-on-7 goal line. You got to see because you got to be able to score when you get inside the 5. There are a couple packages I want to look at in that 13 or that heavy package with the 3 tight ends, and then obviously having Patrick Ricard. Would love to see that. The last time they did the red zone period, we didn't see Malachi Fields out there. Remember, for whatever reason, he did individual, but he didn't do any of the competition periods.
He's dealing with something minor.
Something minor, and if he can get out there, because now you have even more of an idea what those packages could look like. Because when you talk about heavy package, he's that single wide receiver most of the time. So being able to move guys around, whether it be him and Likely, and create some sort of mismatches in the red zone, and then just having him as that option where Jackson Dart could be like, you know what, I don't like what's going on over here to the right side. Let me just take the one-on-one. And those two, they've been connecting on everything from slants to deep balls. So I believe that the red zone package, would love to see him in there. When it comes to like the 7-on-7s and the passing periods, want to see them go down the field a little bit more.
Yeah,
I want to see Darnell Mooney and Slayton
stuff yet.
Yeah. We haven't seen that as well, and that happens a lot throughout the course of a football game. Who are going to be those wide receivers that are going to make plays for Jackson Dart to where he feels like, you know what? I feel comfortable making this tight throw in this window, and this 3rd and 11, this 3rd and 15. Because I know this guy's going to come down with that ball. I just have to make sure I get it over the 2 6'5" interior linebackers, get that ball over them so I can hit that backside 6 route or dig. That's the last thing in my in my progression, the last read in my progression. So that 3rd and long, so goal line, red zone. Obviously, red zone with Malachi Fields, and then 3rd and long.
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree with that. All right, let's kind of go through who we think the stars of camp have been so far. Guys that have stood out to you the most. Why don't you give me a couple on offense, a couple on defense, and I'll give you a couple too.
I'll go 2 easy on offense. Isaiah Likely. This dude's catching everything. He's being targeted a lot. He looks very comfortable getting in and out of his breaks. He's a tight end, but he runs routes. He's shifty like a slot receiver almost per se. Doesn't put many on the ground, very competitive. So I say Isaiah Likely. A guy like Jalen Hyatt has impressed me, and Jalen Hyatt has caught notice of the coaching staff, and you see him on, and we talk about it all day. How are you going to get your way onto this roster? How are you going to make this team? You see him getting gunner work. So he understands the situation that he's in, and I think he's going to make plays in preseason. We've seen that before. We've seen him make plays in NFL regular season games before, but we haven't seen him make a play on special teams yet. That's going to be his path to get on this roster. So offensively, I go those 2 guys, Isaiah Likely and Jalen Hyatt. Obviously, Odell gets my honorable mention. Braxton Berrios as well, Dalen Cambry. But in terms of like really sticking out to me, Isaiah Likely is he's as advertised, and Jalen Hyatt has put himself in position to where it's like, all right, catch those balls that you usually catch in the preseason, but let me see you show up on special teams.
I talked about this a lot on yesterday's show, I think it was, so I don't want to go through it again. I think Odell's been very good. I think he's been a lot better than I thought he would be. Dalen Cambry, I think, is a guy that's a lesser-known guy that I think has kind of made his mark. Look, I think in the padded practice, especially in the one-on-ones, CeCe Mauigoa has been excellent. I've seen some of the 9-on-7s. He's turning people in the run game to create gaps and holes. He's holding his own in pass rush one-on-ones, which I think has been great. I've not seen him go against DJ Reader yet in the one-on-ones.
No, not
yet. For some reason, they have not got matched up with each other. He's been with Darius Alexander a lot. He has not been a lot with DJ Reader. So I'd like to see that matchup once. Reader's been over John Michael Schmitz more often than not, kind of as the nose tackle.
Yep.
But I think CeCe's been great. Who else on offense? I think those are the guys that probably stick out to me the most on offense.
Tanner Connor has looked good as well.
Tanner Connor's been very active. That's true. No other receivers I don't think have really jumped out more than others. I mean, Neighbors, just the way he's run on the side.
He looks,
I think you have to be excited about that.
His leadership, like when he gets back to the receivers and he's talking to guys, like I didn't think him going into that 3rd year he would be that active in terms of being a voice in that wide receiver room, and you can see that. But to go back to CeCe Mauigoa not going up with DJ Reader just yet, that's something, Schmeelk, I think we need to see, and we need to see ASAP, because you think of the nose tackles, the defensive tackles that you're going to face in those first 2 games, Quinnen Williams, Frank Clark, Aaron Donald. You're going to be going up against some of the top nose tackles in the NFL, so I would like to see him get some work against a big beef guy like a DJ Reader.
He has in team drills, obviously. I'm talking about
in one-on-ones.
In the pass rush one-on-one stuff. I've not seen him against him. I've not tracked who he's gone up against in every team drill, but I got to imagine that he has seen him at some point in these team drills. looking at the rest of the offensive guys, I mean, Patrick Ricard has been as advertised as
Yep.
much as you can be physical in these situations. Andrew Thomas has been great. You know who's actually, I think, has done a really nice job in the one-on-one pass rush drills that I've watched is rookie J.C. Davis.
Okay,
I think
you keep talking
I
about
think
him.
he's
All
actually
right.
done a pretty
All
nice
right.
job. Now, he's going against other third stringers. He is not matched up against Brian Burns or Kayvon Thibodeau or Abdul Carter or Chauncey Golston, even those guys.
Yep.
But the work he's done against guys like Trace Ford, guys like Caleb Murphy, guys like Khalid Kareem, I think he's done a nice job early on in those offensive tackle one-on-ones.
When he starts, when he will start getting those reps against the Burns and the Kayvons after that first preseason game if he plays well, because now you've had two and a half weeks of practice. You've done it against the 2s and the 3s, against the guys that you're supposed to be winning against. But if he goes and he plays well in that first preseason game, then you've obviously taken notice. So that means the coaching staff is taking notice. But you do it in the game, then they're like, okay, this kid may be able to be a swing tackle, be that swing utility lineman for us. Let's see how he now holds up against the money, against the big name guys. So it's great that he's getting some recognition from you. Just continue to put days together and then do it in the preseason game.
Absolutely right. All right, on defense, give me some names.
Oh, defensively, I gotta go. I gotta go with Jason Pinnock, man. I really like that addition, bringing that addition to that secondary, bringing Penny back, Jay Penny. He had the interception in that red zone practice that we had, but he's been all over the field, and he's been one of the better cover safeties in this defense, in this secondary. And here's the thing that they do within this defense, especially when they do one-on-ones, they'll have safeties guard the slot. So they're looking at which safeties we could possibly use as a nickel guy, play some man-to-man against the tight end or whatnot. Or even if, because the way these NFL offenses are, they create these mismatches where you might be lined up against a guy. He's kind of held his own, per se, against some of the slots in one-on-ones. And he looks like he has a really good range, and he has a grasp of this Denard Wilson defense. So Jason Pinnock has been a guy that I've kind of looked at and be like, all right, he's okay. He may even make that push. I don't know, him and Tyler Nubin, or at least those two guys be on the field at the same time with Javon Holland as a big nickel package. Also, obviously, we talked about Tremaine Edmonds and Arvell Reese. They both look, as advertised, they both look really good. But Micah McFadden is flying around. And I was watching, Jahmyr Gibbs got paid yesterday or today. They were talking about him on Good Morning Football, and they were showing, some highlights that he had on the runs against the Giants last season. And, it was like Swayze Bozeman and those guys. We were depleted at that middle linebacker position last year. How great of it is to have a healthy Micah McFadden back, to where Coach Harbaugh said that he's got 3 starters as the interior linebacker. So I look for Micah McFadden to play a lot within this defense. And I always like seeing McFadden go east-west and get after the football. He's been around the football a lot as well.
I think Jack Kelly's done a nice job with that linebacker spot, especially in coverage, something that he wasn't asked to do a ton of in college. He's tracked a couple guys down the field on different plays. He's rushed the passer on a couple plays. He's been good at the run game, tracking guys down. I think he's pretty instinctual, hitting the right gaps and getting after the ball carrier. So I think he's been really good. I mean, Abdul Carter, he is what he is.
He's as advertised.
I think DJ Reader's had a really nice camp. I think he's consistently getting penetration during team drills. I think he's done a really nice job kind of being in there. Tackles for losses in the run game, pressures in the pass game. I see a couple plays where either Carter or Burns will flush the quarterback up in the pocket, and Reader's kind of there waiting for him, which is the whole point, right? You want the edge players to condense the width of the pocket, and then you want the depth of the pocket to be condensed by defensive tackles. So I think he's kind of played that role the way you want him to. In the secondary, look, Deontay Banks has just been really good again. He had a good spring, and he's had a good camp. Greg Newsom was talking about him the other day, and Matt Sytak read these quotes yesterday, how he's just been really good in press man. Yeah. And that's his strength, we'll see if that can continue. And I said this to Bob the other day, let's see if that continues when you get into a real game situation, to see if he can keep that mental discipline and not do the grabbing and not do the not turning your head around and that sort of stuff, which has plagued him in games.
Yep.
We'll have to see if he gets into a game, how that can go. Here's another one I'll throw out there. and you tell me if I'm crazy, I would not be shocked if Tyler Nubin is a captain on this defense this year. I feel like he's one of the more vocal players out there on defense, making calls, shouting things out. Even when he's not on the field, he's calling things out from the sideline, trying to emotionally lift up his teammates. I kind of see him, and he's made some plays on the field too, but I've kind of seen him emerging, in my opinion, as a defensive leader of this group. He's, John Harbaugh was talking about him, a very serious-minded guy, really trying to get better. He talked about how he's going to play lighter this year than last year, about 8 or 9 pounds lighter. And I don't know. That's something that's just jumped out at me as one of the more vocal guys that seems to be trying to take on a leadership role on the defense.
I think it's a campaign. He's campaigning. I think you got to make the plays. You got to make the plays on the field in order for you to get elected. You know what I mean? Like, I love being vocal because you have to at safety. You think of how many busted coverages, they had last year in that defensive secondary, especially in that back end. So I love the communication that he and Javon Holland and these guys are having. You want to see that. You want to hear that. As a coach, that makes you feel good. But as a player, I need to see plays made. And he's even talked about how this Denard Wilson defense is going to help him get back to playing the way that he did at Minnesota, which got him drafted in the second round. So I think all of that is great. It's great on the campaign trail. But now, within the course of this preseason, I want to see forced fumble, pass breakup, interception. You got to see some plays made within the X amount of snaps that he has to where it's like, okay, the vocal goes with the on the field dog, and it's like that's when I put my vote in. Right now, I'm kind of just like, well, Holland's had success already. He talks as well. He's cool in the locker room. He's fun. You're kind of you're looking at the candidates right now, and you're like, well, who's going to take that step? Who's going to take that step? And I believe you got to do that on the field for someone to be like, all right, Tyler Nubin, boom, let me put my vote in.
I agree with that.
I got my ID when I vote too.
I think that's more than fair. Orville Reese has been all over the place. Not quite as much all over the place since the first few days.
Yep.
First couple of days of pads, but he's still been very active.
I feel like he's holding back. I feel like he needs like a real live, he needs game action.
It was like he doesn't want to hurt somebody.
It's like he doesn't know how to thud,
Right.
Like he's just like, and it just stops, but the instinct, the killer instinct in him is like launch. I want to launch on somebody, and I believe one of these games he's going to force a fumble, just hitting somebody.
Oh, yeah.
I can feel it. I can feel it, and so I hurt for the person that he actually hits in the preseason game.
I think Colton Hood's been physical, especially in the run game. I've liked some of the stuff I've seen out of him. Yeah, I think those are most of the guys that have kind of jumped out. I think Elijah Campbell has been active in the secondary and on special teams. He's done a nice job throughout practice. I've been happy with him.
Lane had the interception. I forget his first name.
Raheem
Lane.
And he also the forced fumble, too, on back-to-back plays.
So that's another guy to keep an eye on as a depth piece back there. And
he's also a big special teams guy.
There you have it. You have it.
Yeah.
And remember, because Dane Belton, he got his reps at free safety or strong safety at times, but Dane Belton was a special teams monster. And he's caused, over the last, 2 years, he's caused the most turnovers out of anybody on the team. And some were special teams, some were on defense. So you need to plug and play that loss of a Dane Belton because, you can get defense. You want them to force fumbles and turnovers. But if you can get one on special teams as well, changes the game. Absolutely changes the game. And Chris Horton has done a great job with details and coaching these guys up. New special teams coach Chris Horton has done a great job of that. Now it's like, all right, guys, I'm going to put you in a position to make a play. Go see ball, get ball. Go get the ball. Go get this extra possession. And you're going to need that against teams like the Cowboys and the Rams to start the season off.
Absolutely. Let's get to the phones at 201-939-4513. But first, a couple reminders. One, Giants Huddle Podcast. Make sure you go check it out, folks. It's on the Giants YouTube channel, Giants app, giants.com/podcast. Great interview just went up today with Brian Balding, or our first Balding breakdown edition of the Giants Huddle Podcast. My interview with Sean O'Hara from Wednesday is up there. Mike Garafolo from Monday. Great stuff from camp. We'll have Carl Banks on Monday's program next week. So check it out, Giants Huddle Podcast, and you can find it on all those video platforms. But if you're an audio guy, on your favorite podcast platform, it could be Spotify, it could be Apple, Amazon Music, wherever you find your podcast, just search for Giants Huddle. Search for Giants Podcast Network. It'll come up. Click that subscribe button. It'll really help us out. And if you really like our shows, leave a 5-star positive review, whether it's for the Giants Huddle Podcast or on the Big Blue Kickoff Live feed as well. Also, don't forget, you can run or walk with Giants Legends, an event hosted by Brandon London. It will host the Giants Foundation will host a 5K racing kids run presented by Quest on Sunday, November 8th, 9 a.m. MetLife Stadium. That's right before the Giants visit the Eagles. That's proceeds will benefit the Giants Foundation. You'll receive a commemorative T-shirt. After the race, there's a post-race festival. Giants Legends, a live DJ. Register now, giants.com/5K. The Giants Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation. 201-939-4513. Let's go to the phones and say what's up to Darian, all the way down in Houston, Texas. Darian, what's going on?
How you doing? Can you guys hear me okay?
Loud and clear, Darian. What do you got?
All right, cool. So I have one comment and kind of a question. So the first comment is, one thing that I can't stand is just the concept that you can't cut a guy or you have to keep a guy on your roster just because of his contract or how much he makes. And the reason I bring that up is because I was thinking about our wide receiver situation. And by the reports, it sounds like guys like Bailey Cambry has been, really showing out and, outperforming a lot of guys. But whenever I hear guys, project what the final roster will be with the wide receivers, it seems like guys like Slayton is just always automatically slotted in, taking up one of them spots. When it seems like a guy like Cambry has been, outperforming him through the whole summer. So I just don't think, it's right just to say, oh, well, we have to just slot that spot in for a guy like Slayton, even though he's been outperformed.
No, but Darian, hold
like
on, though. But Darius Slayton has a track record in NFL football games that carries a lot more weight than 2 weeks of practice.
Right. I understand that point, but it just seems, what I'm hearing at least, it seems like, he's just been, I don't know, kind of quiet. We know he has a proven track record, but he also, has let us down a few times as well. But just in general, not even with Slayton, I feel like that just compounds the problem. If you give a guy a contract that I guess he doesn't live up to, or whatever the case may be, to allow him to take up a roster spot that someone else may be more deserving of, it kind of just compounded that problem. What do you guys think about that?
I'm going to take that because I feel as though I went through that my second year. Remember I had that 9 catches in that preseason. I feel like I outplayed Sonora Smalls, but I didn't handle. Dalen's going to have to handle business on special teams. Dalen's going to have to make Matt Nagy and those guys, when they're sitting in that room and they're cutting down that roster, he's going to have to make them make a hard decision. So I get what you're saying. It's hard to take the incumbent spot. Like Darius Slayton is one of the top Giants all-time catchers. What is he, like top 10 right now or something? Darius Slayton has had years of having over 700 plus yards. Now I get it, because the seasons have gone the way the seasons have gone. He's had some drops, and we're all like, oh, we're gonna focus and we're gonna harp on the bad. But he's made some plays within his time here as a Giant. So Dalen is going to have to match that sort of energy in the preseason to show that, hey, if we cut a Darius Slayton or somebody like that, then this is what we're getting. Not just a guy that's making play. And trust me, bro, like I root for the bubble guys all the time. Not just some guys that's making plays out here in West Virginia. You got to do it when the preseason comes. Like I'm talking catch and run, because we've seen Slayton do that. I'm talking deep ball. We've seen Slayton do that. I'm talking special teams. So Dalen, this is auditions. All this is the first auditions. The preseason games are the callbacks. He and that to make that final decision. So he's going to have to step up and play very well in these preseason games, especially if he gets on the field. If there's something where they're like, okay, we want you to go the ones in the preseason, then Darian, the coaches are noticing that Dalen is making plays, and they're going to be like, okay, let's give the young boy his shot. Let's give him a true opportunity. But you got to make plays plus some to take somebody's job that's already been here and has a track record of making plays. Now, the only thing that he has, something that he has in his favor, John Harbaugh doesn't know anybody from anybody on this roster.
And you literally took the words out of my mouth, Darren, because I think Brandon made a good point. While the front office that's here signed Slayton to this contract, the coaching staff was not.
Yep.
So I'll say this, and this isn't even Slayton related. I'll say this about any general player. I agree with your general concept. A guy should not be guaranteed a roster spot just because of the contract he's on. I think you're right about that. Now, if there's a dead money situation where if you cut him, he costs $30 million on your cap, then yes, that would be a mitigating reason why you wouldn't do it. But if you get
but in those cases, he's getting paid anyway, right? Whether you're paying him his actual salary or you're paying the dead money, you're still paying that money, so you might as well.
No, but Darian, sometimes
more deserving.
No, true. But sometimes the dead money is more than the salary, which is the problem. So sometimes the salary might be like the cap hit might be $10 million, but the dead money is $20 million. So you might lose $10 million of cap space. Now that isn't the case with Slayton necessarily. So that's what I'm saying. This is more of a general statement than like Slayton specifically.
Without a doubt.
But if it's equal, right? Whatever the dead money and the salary is equal. If you get to a point, and again, this is not specific to Slayton. I want to stress that fans don't aggregate this. If you make a decision at the end of training camp that we don't think this player can help us win games, that he is not going to be a positive asset for this roster, should you keep him just because he has a salary that's going to count on your cap no matter what? No, you shouldn't.
No.
If you don't think he's going to help your team win. So that's the decision that you're going to have to make. Does this player bring a positive to the field that's going to help us win games? If he does, you keep him because that money's on the books no matter what, right? Whether he's here or not, it doesn't matter. So if he's a positive, he's a plus and a bigger plus than somebody else, then you keep him because the salary's the salary. It's going to be no matter he's on the roster or not. If you decide that, all right, I don't know if this guy's going to help us win games. I don't know if he's going to get on the field. I think this guy's a better chance of contributing. Then I agree with you. The salary should not be the deciding factor in that situation because why would you use up a roster spot for a guy that you don't think is going to help you? So, yes, to your general point, Darian, I think Brandon and I are both in agreement on that.
And great question, calling in.
Yes.
Great observation because you hear a lot of people talking about it. And even when we make our rosters, we make our cut down at the receiver position, that is a factor. But another factor is Darian is Darius Slayton is making plays as well. Darius Slayton is running the route tree. Not a lot of guys have gone deep, connecting on these deep balls and stuff. But Darius Slayton is having a solid camp himself.
He also hasn't got as many reps, I feel like, as some of the other guys because he's a veteran. He's coming off the sport, surgery and all that stuff. So I feel like one of the reasons, Darian, too, that maybe you haven't heard as much about Darius at camp, I didn't mean to interrupt you, I'm sorry, that he just hasn't gotten as many reps as maybe some of the other guys.
Exactly. But he is still making plays. That's why I'm saying it's going to be that much harder for Dalen. But hey, at the end of the day, we got to make do with the reps that we get.
And Darian, by the way, I do think this wide receiver room competition is going to be really, really tough. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I know you had a second point. What's your second point?
That was all fair. Yeah, I just, like I said, overall, I just feel like sometimes guys, they outperform other guys, but they don't get a chance. But moving on to the second point, what would your guys' opinion be on potentially trading a second-round pick for a guy like Brandon Aubrey? And the reason I say that is because
the Cowboys should sign him to a long-term extension, Darian.
Well, I just mean, kind of hypothetically, for a kicker like Brandon Aubrey, because I'm thinking of it. I'm like, okay, a second-round pick specifically for the Giants. We may get, pretty good corner, wide receiver, lineman that'll help us for sure. But at the end of the day, football is about, scoring more points than your opponent. And a guy like Aubrey, he'll score points. And if we can turn, if you think about all the 3 and outs that we have throughout a game, if you can take half, maybe a quarter of those 3 and outs and change them to 3 points, I just feel like that's a big game changer. So I would be willing. I know you said they just signed to a contract, but I would be willing personally if he didn't to trade like a second rounder for a guy like a Brandon Aubrey.
All right. So in a hypothetical world, and Darren, thanks for the call. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it, bro.
Very good questions. Is a kicker of that caliber, and you're guaranteeing me you're getting that caliber kicker. So I'm not talking about a draft pick now, because you draft a guy, you never know what a guy's going to be next draft. We've seen guys drafted in second rounds and they've busted out. The Bucks kid, Guano, whatever is the remember the guy I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So is a kicker of that caliber worth a second-round pick? It's close. I mean, maybe not like a top of the second-round pick, maybe a late second-round pick, I'm thinking. But look, Brandon, a guy of Brandon Aubrey's caliber is a weapon, and maybe we should have brought these guys up. I think both kickers have been good in camp, to be honest with you. And I'm not going to put Dominic Zvada in Brandon Aubrey's camp. That's not fair to the kid. But he has a really big leg. Like, he can easily make 60-yard kicks. That's the type of leg that he has.
Yep.
So I think the Giants hope if he develops, he could turn into that type of a kicker with the big leg to make those kicks outside of 55, up to 60, 65 yards. He has the leg for that. The consistency obviously is going to be the most important part of that, but I think he has been pretty consistent, at least so far this summer at camp. So
to answer his question, I would say yes. I would give that up because of the PTSD that Giants fans have suffered when it comes to some of the kicking stuff that has gone on and plagued this franchise for the last X amount of years. But here's the thing with that hypothetical, Schmeelk. If I'm an NFL team
you ain't
and
taking
I
that,
have
dude.
a Brandon Aubrey on my team, a hypothetical Brandon Aubrey on my team already, I'm not giving him up for anything. I would have to have two of them battling it out in camp to where I'm like, okay, I'm cool with trading one away for a second-round pick because I already have that kicker, a Pro Bowl-ish type kicker. Maybe not even Pro Bowl, just stability at the kicker situation. So that now narrows the amount of teams that you could trade with. So right now, I think for the right now, you put as much pressure on these two kids as possible throughout the course of the rest of the training camp and preseason to see how they could hold up, because back-to-back primetime games, night games as well, for a rookie undrafted kicker. I know about the leg, but Harbaugh has to find a way to see where he could test his mettle as much as possible, because if that first opening game at MetLife, night game, goes down to OBJ making some huge big catch that puts them in field goal range for the tie or the win, is this kid going to have the dog in him to block everything out, step in there? Because it's one thing to do it on TikTok, but to do it at MetLife top, you know what I mean?
I know,
like,
you're right.
You got to
Right.
step in there, block all the noise, read one of those A.J. Brown books to calm you down, and bury it.
I mean, you know how much
You got to
pressure that is.
identify that. Oh my gosh!
So much pressure.
Oh my gosh! The lights are going to be on the wristband. It's going to be a night game. It's the Cowboys.
And you're it. You're the
And
guy.
You're tag. You're it. You're in there. This is it. Everybody. And just think, if you're down early, they fought back again. Storyline after storyline. OBJ makes that crazy catch to put you in position.
Whole game's on your shoulders.
The whole game is on your shoulders.
It's hard.
John Harbaugh has to do. And it's hard to do that. You can't. There's no rep for that. You can't emulate that type of pressure. You can't make that happen in a training camp. But these coaches have to do. They have that hard job of trying to identify what his heart is going to be like in that situation.
Well, I think you try to put him. You hope in a preseason game.
Without a doubt.
You can get him in that spot.
Without a doubt.
Even if it's at the end of the half, right?
Yep.
End of the second quarter
Yep.
or something like that.
Yep.
Get him in some type of high pressure situation so you can kind of judge.
Would
that
you
a little
be
bit.
okay? So let's say you're giving the starters a full half, and you want them to get their 2-minute drill going. They got a 2-minute drill. They're in that fringe range or whatnot.
We should mention,
Do
by
you-
the way, that Harbaugh did say the other day that he might end up playing his guys a little bit more because it's a young team.
Okay,
in the
yeah,
preseason.
we'll
Did say
talk
that,
about that. So let's say they're driving. Do you tell Nagy, hey, hold off taking shots at the end zone? Like, do you kind of tell them, don't try and score because I want him to have to hit this
I don't know if he
kickoff for halftime, going into halftime to try and get him that work. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to tell somebody don't score.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, but
I don't know.
said you need to. That's the closest thing you have to prime time against the Cowboys.
You hope it comes naturally. You hope it comes
Okay.
naturally.
I like it.
And then which kicker do you give the chance to? That's
I got to go with the young guy.
trick
I got to
because
go
two
with
of
the.
them.
I got to go with the young guy.
I mean, they're both young. Souls was a rookie last year.
Yes. Yep. Man, but
It
that
gets
is.
tough.
Yeah.
It gets
that
tough.
is. That is. I guess that would be the biggest question mark coming out of training camp. I feel like who's going to lock that down? Who's
Yeah.
going to be that guy? But
And how you kicking games might be a
And-
big part of that.
yeah, without a doubt, there's going to be a lot of eyes on the kicking game.
And by the way, not just that, kickoff matters too. You know,
Yep.
where you place the ball. You don't want all these touchbacks, right? Touchback, you get the ball to the 35-yard line now.
We've seen.
And if you're
how
playing
that
the
can hurt
Cowboys, you get the ball to the 35-yard line.
That's 3 points.
You're what, 20 yards away from a field goal attempt?
Without a doubt, for that second-round pick for Brandon Aubrey. you know?
Exactly right. No, exactly. Darian, excellent call.
Great. Yeah, appreciate that, man.
Good question.
Appreciate that. Man.
Let's go to Chris in Geneseo. Chris, what's going on, man?
Hey, Schmeelky, it's Chris, same Chris from Rochester. It's just
Hey, what's going
down
on
there.
How are you?
But I'm doing good, man. Hey, first of all, I just wanted this is the first time I've talked to you guys since the Knicks won, so I just wanted to congratulate you.
Thank you.
I know you guys been waiting a long time. Tell Paulie too when you see him. Well, if you remember.
I will remember. I
Or maybe-
no.
And also, I wanted to give Moose some props. He was a great addition to a great show already. So if you give him some props for me too, that would be awesome.
Sounds good.
And I just got to get some things off my chest, man. So I just wanted to know, why are we being like so grossly underlooked? We had the fifth best run game last year without Scat half the year, and then all we did is re-sign Illuminor, Manhurt's the best tight end name ever. And bring in Harbaugh, Roman, the run game master, and then brought in Patty. Hit the deck, Ricard. Drafted CC. I mean, and now Dart was he was good, man. He looked really like a young Rodgers, the way that he manipulated the pocket and bounced in and out and created space. It was like a natural feel for him. So it's going to be there again this year.
All right,
And
so
now,
Chris,
those
one question
guys,
for
it
you.
was like,
Chris, one question
Yeah.
for you. If all that's
Yep.
true, why did the Giants win 4 games last year?
man, well, it's because we had 6 leads in the fourth quarter. I mean, look at the teams. He came out and beat the Chargers, beat the Eagles. He was beating tough teams, man. And all we had was Theo and Slayton, and they were dropping dimes, man. He was dropping so many dimes he dropped. And now we've got Neighbors, OBJ, Juju, Austin, Mooney, Slayton, Barrios, all those guys catch the ball. And then, I forgot Fields, man. I can't wait to see that big bastard.
Now, but Chris, I hear you. All right, so let's say you take half of those fourth quarter wins,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you add 3 wins. But let's take away the
Yeah.
last game of the year because the Cowboys didn't play any of their starters
Yeah.
for 3 quarters. So then you're looking at
Okay.
so then you're looking at a 6-win year.
Yeah, I give us that first Cowboys game, too, because those refs, they
Chris,
gave them
Chris,
3.
Yeah.
Balls go. You can't make excuses for all the losses, but take credit for all the wins. That's not how this works.
I think you're, and I know how he feels because
Yeah,
I talk to a lot of
course.
Giants fans. I know what you feel, but you got to look at it like this: the rest of the NFL they're not Giants fans, so they're not looking at it how the Giants fans are looking at it with the love for this team.
And those teams
shoulda,
also
woulda,
got better
coulda,
too this
and all
offseason, by
those
the
teams
way.
got better. It's like what my dad used to tell me all the time. He said, "I'm like Missouri, the show me state." It's just going down to where the Giants are going to have to go out there and beat some teams that they're not supposed to beat in the eyes of everyone else and win the games that they're supposed to win to take the respect back. There is no just handing over respect because you're the New York Football Giants, 1925, got a cool logo, got a cool in-game MC, all that cool stuff. But
I love the Giants, man, with all my heart.
They
I
gotta
was a
take it,
Giant.
Chris.
I
They've
played
gotta
for
go
the-
and
I
take
played
it.
for the Giants.
Yeah, and Chris, and by the way, you mentioned the Knicks at the start of this call. It's
Yeah.
the same thing. Do you know how long it took anyone to give the Knicks any credit? And by the way, I understood it. Do you know why? The Knicks were a clown franchise for the better part of 15 to 20
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
They were a joke.
All right.
They were terrible. I got why people didn't want to give them credit.
Without a
They were
doubt.
terrible. And Chris, look,
Man,
Look, I don't like giving this stat, but it is. If you look over the last, I forget the number of years it is, 6 or 7 years, the Giants have one of the worst records in the National Football League.
No, it's like
It-
comparable with the
I
Chiefs.
It
get
just
it.
is what
I
it
know.
is.
I've lived through it. It makes me sick.
It just is what
all
it
the
is.
time.
Brandon said it perfectly. He could not have hit it better on the head.
The in-game
When
MC
you're in
bit?
this situation, yeah, it's all about the in-game MC. No, when you're in this situation, you have to earn
Yes.
that respect,
Yes.
and you're not gonna. And you know what?
Yeah.
It might not even be 1 year. Because people are like, they had a couple fluky wins in there. It might take a couple years of good football, which, again, John Harbaugh has shown the ability to do this consistently over the course of his career. To start getting that outside respect, it's going to take a couple years of winning before you get there. And that's okay. Just enjoy the journey. Don't worry about what people on the outside say. Just enjoy the journey on the inside.
I'm not worried at all. Honestly, I see us crushing the first two teams. I see us going in after they come back from Australia, and they've got a suspended left tackle. Seriously, good luck blocking Brian Burns, KT, Abdul Carter, Reese with a backup left. Good luck blocking them with a starting left tackle.
You're aware that they might have Myles Garrett and Aaron Donald, right?
Yeah. That is scary. If Donald comes back and he resembles, if he even that is very scary. But we also have one of the best offensive lines now in the NFL. We got Greg Roman, the scheme master, John Harbaugh.
Chris. I think you're jumping the gun. Like, the Giants' offensive line was better last year. Was it a top 5 line in the league? Probably not. Was Jackson Dart show a lot of potential last year? Absolutely. Is he a top 10 to 15 quarterback in the league yet?
Not yet.
Probably not.
Not yet, yeah.
So I think you're doing a lot of projecting.
I am.
While other people are more like, this is what we've seen.
Dude. These guys, I mean, the Browns drafted Fano and let frickin' CeCe fall to us. Same thing with Reese. Same thing with Abdul Carter. All these teams that have been letting these defensive superstars fall in our laps, and after Dex just laid down, or I don't know what happened to him last year, but he looked like a shell of himself. He was getting blown out. That Broncos game, he got blown out of the line, I would say 6 yards. I've never seen that happen to Dex before, ever. And now he flipped.
Because of the state of the franchise going into this John Harbaugh hire, there are a lot of people living this 2026 season on paper. They're looking at it on paper. The tools are there, but now it's got to be done on the field. Like, these wins with this glory that you're talking about, Chris, and you sound like a longtime Giants fan. You've lived the highs. You've lived that glory. You know the standard. And it's like you're looking at it like, this guy should be this guy should be this guy should live up to that standard. We got to see it on the field.
Yeah, and Chris, I would say this
see
too.
It on the field.
Think about the great Giant teams, right? You want to talk about a top 5 offensive line? Look at the 07 Giants.
For sure.
Eli Manning versus Dart. But Burris and Toomer. So just compare. Shockey there, too, by the way, until he got hurt.
Yep.
So just look at how much. But just look how much good, proven veteran talent that had been in the league for 5 or 6 years already. It took that group time to come together and win.
And we're still a wild card team.
Right.
Had to go on a run to make it to the playoffs.
You're talking about a bunch of first, second, and third year guys, and you expect them to, crush the Rams in week 2.
Yeah.
I just think you have to understand it takes some time for this stuff to come together. It's very rare for teams to win at a high level full of a team that has a lot of playing time with first, second, and third year players. It's just a very, very hard thing to do in the National Football League. You know what I mean?
It is. But, I mean, we have so many super freaks. I mean, Paulson, and then bringing back Denard, like I said to you and Paulie on that earlier call, that Tay Banks was going to make a run for this starting job. Mm-hmm. It's because Wink drafted him. Now Denard's coming right out of the week, and we have 4 freaking, man corners. I think that they're gonna give a little bit more time for the defensive line, who is not gonna need it. I just think we have too many superstars now on offense and defense, and I think Dart is gonna take the step. I just can feel it.
All right, Chris.
And then Skip, dude,
Chris,
he's a monster.
Chris, real quick, I'm gonna push back one last time a little bit. How many All-Pros did the Giants have last year?
Well, I think Bernie got robbed. Was Burns All-Pro?
Nope.
That's such bull. Oh man.
No, but Chris, the point I'm making, and I'm not like trying to take shots at voters, is that you said there's so
So-
many superstars. Well, if they have so many superstars, how come nobody made All-Pro last year?
Well, Neighbors was hurt. Scat was hurt. That takes a lot out of an
Oh, but
offense.
Chris,
And I've seen him
hold
running.
on, Chris. Do you understand how hard it is to be an All-Pro superstar? Like for Cam Scatterbo to be a pro, even make the Pro Bowl this year, let alone an All-Pro, you realize that Christian McCaffrey and Bijan Robinson are both in the NFC, right?
Jameer Gibbs.
Yep.
And Jameer Gibbs.
Yep. Oh, I know. It's loaded. It's definitely loaded. I wasn't saying Stat as all pro. There's only I
listed him as
think
a
that
superstar.
Abdul Carter will be all pro. Andrew Thomas, maybe Illuminor, depending on how bad we beat on these teams running the ball.
See, Chris, hold on a second. Lane Johnson,
Yep.
Tristan Wirfs, Penei Sewell, Trent Williams. These are all offensive tackles in your conference. I think you
Yep.
have to look at how many. I understand your optimism about the Giants roster. It's warranted. There's a lot of really good young players.
Absolutely.
But take a pause and bring up the roster page of some of these NFC teams that won 12 and 13 games last year. Then compare them. And then maybe reevaluate the way you're thinking about things. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I just really like the way that we played the Cowboys, the way that we played the Eagles last year, and that's without all these guys. Hey, how does OBJ look for real?
And Chris, thanks for the call. Really appreciate it, man. Good stuff.
Yep.
I think Beckham has looked a lot better than I thought he would. There was a play in one-on-ones. I don't think I talked to you about this, but I think as a receiver you'd appreciate it. There was a one-on-one drill, and for fans that don't know, this isn't. There's no like reading on one-on-ones. The wide receiver has a route; he has to run it.
You going
right?
Ball's coming to you.
You're running that route that's designed, and you could tell you're supposed to run an out, right, like a 15-yard out, and he starts to run the route, and guess what? The cornerback's playing outside leverage.
Yep.
He's sitting on that outside shoulder, literally waiting for him to run that out route. That is what that coverage is designed to stop. And he does a little fake to the inside. The corner takes a little step. He crosses his face, gets the outside leverage, and catches the ball to the outside. And I saw that, and I'm like, man, first of all, that's the veteran savvy.
Without a doubt.
Right? And
Didn't panic.
the ability to run a route, didn't panic, but also the athleticism to still get out of that break fast enough to beat a guy that was playing with an out route to a guy that was playing him with outside leverage.
Yep.
And I saw that, I'm like, all right, that meant something to me because that's not finding a space in a zone.
Yep.
That's not, being, savvy. That is literally, this guy is playing outside leverage on me, and I still beat him with an outside route in one-on-one, man-on-man coverage, and I'm like, man, that was impressive.
And I mean, that's hard to do.
Yeah, it's very hard
Because
to do.
you're running that route and there's a timer going off in your head. Let's say you got to get to 12 to 15. You're at 8 and you're like, he's still heavy outside.
Exactly
Come
right.
on, bro. Sometimes you try and give that shake. You slow down a little bit. When you break, they break because they know something's coming. You're not going to double move there. I mean, rarely are you going to do that at that time. So for him to be able to still cross face and win on that rep, again, like you said, veteran savvy, athleticism, and then the mitts are there. He probably caught the ball away from his body,
Absolutely.
plucked and tucked, and made it look a lot easy.
And got his feet in on the sideline.
And got his feet in on the sideline. I think for me, the one that got me was he ran the little shallow cross, caught it at like 6, and turned on some wheels and outran. It was 2 linebackers but broke the
tense.
angle of a safety. And I'm thinking like, is this against the Baltimore Ravens back in 2016, Odell? Was this against the Cowboys? Take that slant and put on the Jets, Odell? Am I seeing that? Am I witnessing that right now? But it was good to see that burst because, again, we've seen the route savvy. We've seen the mitts. We've seen him be able to go up, attack the football, catch it at the highest point. But I didn't see, it was only until then where I was wondering when I was going to see the burst. And then I got a chance to see the burst. I think he's put himself in position to be one of the top receivers on this team. I think he's going to get even more 1 reps as we get to the preseason. And just talking to him here and there, not getting the targets early in camp were affecting him a little bit. It affects every receiver when it comes to our mental, especially when you're pushing. You're like, I got to show everybody that I got it. I'm Odell. They say I ain't OB. They're calling me Odell. They ain't calling me OBJ. I got to show it. Sometimes you force it a little bit, Schmeelk, and it can get in your head. You can run a route. You can run a really good route, win, have separation, but you don't get the target. In your head, you're looking at like, did I do something wrong? Did he come off of me early? Did I get jammed at the line of scrimmage? That affects you. And then he had the deep ball opportunity, but Jameis overthrew him a little bit on that in that rain, in that first practice, in that rain game. That can start getting to you. Am I a step slower than what I? But then it just took that one practice where he caught that touchdown, and then he started to get targets, and then you could see him get comfortable. The game started to slow down to him again, and now I think he's looking at it now like, I am OBJ, and this is nothing. I can't wait to show more. So we'll still be reserved. Want to see him carve out his role. I want to see him, get active in the run game during a preseason game to show them, hey, I can be on the field for rundowns as well now. But I think from what I've seen so far versus like what the reports were back in the spring, like, is he that same guy? He hasn't played since December 2024. He looks a lot better than, like you said, than what I thought he was going to look like at this point at camp. All he has to do is just keep stacking days and make those plays that come his way during the preseason.
And by the way, we didn't even mention Saquon Barkley in terms of running backs in the NFC that we were
discussing
before. Yeah, he's also pretty good.
Yeah, we love the Tyrone Tracy Jr. We love what he's been able to do. Back-to-back 1,000 yards from scrimmage. Cam Scatterboot came in. 4 yards a carry, 4 a pop, plus, the 5 touchdowns, the backflip. We got excited about it. But when you're looking at these teams that are having success, they've got home run hitters in their backfield. So this duel, again, has to show everybody in the NFL that they're for real. A lot of Giants fans, they drink that Giants juice.
And they should, by the way.
As you should be optimistic. Because we want you guys hyped. Everybody wants to be hyped. But I want y'all, instead of just drinking the Giants juice, I want to go swim in it. Let's go swim in it. Let's take keg stands from the Giants juice, because that's going to come when these players are having high-level success. But most importantly, there are wins to go with it. Giants fans, we're trying to find wins. We're trying to find the win within a loss.
Yes. And look, for the people that always complain that we're always positive in the show or whatever, I hope you listen to that call where we're trying to be realistic. In terms of where this team is, what they are moving forward, right? Because I don't want the Giants to finish, 8-9 or 9-8, have a good competitive year, and then fans disappointed because they thought they were going to go 13-4, right? Or 12-5.
Yeah.
Like,
if you're going to do it, surprises. Like, it's got to be a surprise. You got to go on that run. And it happens for teams. We see it each year. We talked about it.
And look at the Patriots last year.
Yeah. Look at that jump that they had. Quarterback going into his second year. He didn't have any huge names at the playmakers.
And that's the path, right? The way the Giants play, the way Chris described them, Jackson Dart has to be Drake May last year. That's what he has to be. That's what has to happen for that type of jump to happen. Is that possible? Is it on the board? Sure.
Yeah.
Is this something that I would go and say, all right, well, I really think this is going to happen? No, because it's so infrequent that something like that does happen. That's the only point I'll make.
I mean, from what I saw last year, and I'm looking at it like from the receiver standpoint where he had, I don't want to say nothing. I don't want to disrespect those guys and say he had nothing. But like Chris said, there were drops. There were some drops that just deaded some drives that had a lot of momentum and chance to go score.
He did not get a lot of help.
He didn't get a lot of help.
Yes.
He's got help this year. So I'm with Chris on this one. I'm banking on him taking that step in that second year. Drake Mayish, I'm looking at it like, why not? But you got to show it. You got to show it.
Drake May was second MVP voting.
Yeah, without a doubt. Like, you look at the numbers, but Drake May's first year numbers were Jackson Dart had better first year numbers.
They were very similar.
They were similar, but Jackson is a little bit better. And I feel like with less, again, with not as much help as a Drake May had.
Well, I mean, Drake May did exactly of receivers last year either. Stephon Diggs was his number one.
Yeah, 80-something catches. Then that's still Stephon.
He didn't get signed until yesterday.
No, but I mean, he comes with baggage. He comes with
he had a little off the field.
a little something that we talked about on TMZ or something. He made a little TMZ, but so did the head coach. So
Well,
it's like,
that's a fair point. Now, I don't think the Patriots had exactly. Like Keyshawn Boutte was like the number 2 wide receiver. They weren't rolling.
they had
out
a
some great
system
wide
that
receiver.
worked.
Yes, that's
that was
correct.
tailored to the quarterback,
Yes.
and it was like, hey, don't get yourself in trouble. We're gonna run the football, try and keep you in as favorable down and distance, especially third down as
And by the way,
possible.
also a two-headed monster like the Giants have, Travion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson. Kind of similar to, I think, what the Scatterboo Tracy
Absolutely. The tight end was
Hunter Henry.
I'll take Isaiah Likely over Hunter Henry if you had to in terms of weapons. So it could be he could have that type of leap, but again, it's like Missouri, the show me state. These guys got to go out and do it.
I'm with you. All right, final call of the show is Jersey Mo. Where else would he be? In New Jersey. Jersey Mo, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on? Top of the morning, guys. How you doing?
We're good, Jersey Mo. How are you?
Jersey Mo, what's up, bro?
Beautiful, beautiful, man. Hey, look, at the end of the day, my brothers, we have to stay humble, man. I hear a lot of Giants fans. I've been a Giants fan since '86, man. I'm an OG, man. I've been around the highs and the lows, and I know, you know what I'm saying? We've been in the losing, we've been in the winning. But a lot of people think this is a microwave thing, man. It's not like that, bro. It's a process. We gotta, we got the new coaches, the new schemes, the new everything. This takes time. And about Odell, he's a fan's favorite. He's gonna make the team. From up top, the owners to the GM, they know the fans want to see Odell in the building. He's gonna make the team no matter what. These other dudes, they just got to hope they stay healthy. Because at the end of the day, that's the day. If you get any type of setback, you're going to be out of gas. And because it's the next man up. So these OGs, they got to stay healthy. They got to do their training. They got to do their extra stretchings. Because these young kids, they coming for their jobs.
It's actually funny, Mo. Bob Papa was talking to Odell, and he goes, "Yeah, man, it does take me a little bit longer to warm up before these practices now. It takes me a little while to get going, man, than it used to."
As it should.
So I'm just trying to tell these Giants fans, slow, pump your brakes, man, stay humble. All that this last caller, all that, are we going to win this? Dallas and Rams? Come on, man, pump your brakes, man. We playing these other teams, they also getting sharp too. And they also saying the same thing about us. We going to beat them. This is not a walk in the park, man. Stay humble. And the OGs got to stay healthy, and hopefully we have a good season. That's all we can hope for. Look at the Knicks; they did it. The Giants been on a dry path. We gotta just hope for the best, man, and stay healthy. That's all, man. Guys, you doing a good job. Brandon, you came a long way, bro. I love you. I love watching your show. You mature a lot, man, in TV. And Schmeelk, I love your show. I love watching you, man. God bless you all, man. And let's have a good season, man.
Appreciate it, Jersey Mo. That is excellent perspective.
Without a doubt, he's like that bartender that cuts off that Giants fan from drinking too much Giants juice. That's what that was, because again, like people they could probably be like, oh, he's not a Giants fan. He's hating. We should be better because on paper we have XYZ.
Jersey Mo's seen too much.
It's that you've seen too much. The NFL is. Everyone talks about the script. No one knows the script. The script
really
is
hard.
crazy.
NFL's
Absolutely.
really hard.
And like you
really
don't
hard.
know who's going to be good, who's not going to be as good. You don't know who you're going to have in terms of who's healthy and who's on that active game day roster when you're playing Team X versus Team Y. You don't know if it's going to rain or snow on a certain day. You don't know if that kicker that gets to go up and kick the game winner, if there's a whirlwind in the stadium that instead of like an easy 30-something yarder, now it turns into a harder kick because of the wind. Like you just don't know. But what I can say that I love what he said about the the older guys making sure as best as they can you try and stay healthy, stay on the field. One thing about Coach Harbaugh, what he's doing, because like we said, we touch on this being a younger team, he may play some of the guys in the preseason. They're doing so much situational work when it comes to these practices to get these guys confident in some of the situations that you may or may not face throughout the course of a game or a season. So that's why when people read like the reports about practice and they're like, well, this guy's not doing this, well, this guy's not doing this, it may not have been scripted for that guy or that unit to have some sort of success during that period or that emphasis of that day's practice. So what he's getting this team ready to play football. He's not getting around. They're not doing training camp like it's just, line up, bash each other's heads in, and whoever the top ones at the end, last man standing, last 53 standing makes the team. He's getting guys ready to play football, and that's how they're evaluating these guys. They're like, you know what? We want football players on this team. So when you get into this situation, whether it be third and long, red zone, tight red, whatever it is, in the preseason games, I want to see how you handle that situation. Can you come down and make this play? Do you make that adjustment versus this blitz? Because we just walked through it the other day. Now we're going to do it in a full speed practice again to ramp things up. Now we get you ready for live bullets during the game. Can you evaluate that? He's looking for those type of players to turn this franchise around. So thanks for the call, Jersey Mo. Thanks for the words of encouragement and all. But I think people need to, like you say, or Aaron Rodgers, RELAX. I get the excitement and all, but it's like, let these guys play because let these guys go out there and prove it.
All right, we got a bunch of YouTube comments here. Jambo Gaki, what up, large helmet wearers? It's almost football time. We are going to contest every game this season thoroughly. It was good to see NFL football on the TV last night. Carson Beck, nice job by Carson Beck last night. JFed 4942 was great to watch football last night. We agree. Aloha 26T7Q, John and Brandon. There's a wreck on I-64 near Charlottesville. I will be there to meet you, Richmond, Virginia, and Florida. He said he's going to be at practice there, so we can go over there and say hi.
I used to live in Charlottesville. You go 64 to 81 south to 64 to get here. So, yeah.
The wreck on 64, though. Yeah. T-Tom 13, I'm excited about overall Reese. You should be. Dexterity CS, Carter, year 2 leap, and Reese, defensive rookie of the year. Please, God, I need this. I think there's a shot at that. The problem with the defensive rookie of the year stuff, he might be the best rookie, but if somebody has like 10 sacks, those guys tend to get those types of awards.
Especially if that team is winning.
Like David Bailey, if someone like that is a big year, something like that, we'll see. And then finally, 11 Imani. What I don't understand is why aren't other NFL teams looking at the MLS for potential kickers? It worked for Dallas with Aubrey, so why not try to replicate it? Remember, Aubrey kicked in, what was that secondary football league?
UFL, USFL?
UFL, I think it was. Okay. I think it was the UFL. They merged with somebody. It was
the USFL, the XFL.
Yeah, it was one of those. It wasn't. I think it was the USFL. I think it was the UFL. I believe you're right about that. And he kicked there. So that's where they pulled him from. He did play soccer at Notre Dame. He was a soccer player, but he did kick for the UFL or whatever league it was before he went to the Cowboys. So there was some. It wasn't just some, random soccer dude that they pulled out and they just, put him in. But he was somebody that did have experience in one of those secondary leagues. But you should really keep an eye on that. You know what I mean?
You could, but there's a difference between a free kick at Sports Illustrated Stadium for the New York Red Bulls versus, again, game on the line. Can you step up and hit it between the H? It
was USFL, by the way.
It was USFL? Yeah.
Yep.
But I would love to see if the NFL or maybe even the Giants create some sort of path or initiative to where if you are a soccer flame out in college or one of these leagues, then they have some sort of path for you to get an audition or tryout as a kicker for the Giants. You know what I mean?
I've talked to the front office people. They watch all those games.
Do they really? All right, interesting.
All those secondary football leagues, they scout all those guys.
Nice. Nice.
So they're on it.
Nice.
Brandon, this has been fun doing these shows with you down here, man. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome, man. This beautiful backdrop, beautiful mountains, but I can't wait to see concrete. I can't wait for smog. I can't wait to be packed on the one train or something. Let's get back to New York, baby.
And then you're going to miss the beautiful mist coming off the mountains and fog in the morning. Trains coming by.
For a weekend, fresh air and all that stuff is cool. But I got a 3-year-old at home that goes, Daddy, where are you on FaceTime?
Trust me.
Got to get home.
My daughter's got a birthday party on Sunday. I'm driving with Salmon tomorrow morning just in case something messes a plane.
There we go. So safe travels to you, man.
I appreciate that, man. See you at Slam and Sammy's tonight.
Yep.
Are you coming out?
Yeah, let's do it. That's where we were yesterday.
Yeah,
right?
that's where we were yesterday. That's correct.
All right.
I didn't think you had that much to drink.
It was like $15 for a Corona. I'm like, slamming slamming his wallet.
All right, everybody. Thanks for being with us today on Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the Giants. Thanks to Johnny Mack, doing a great job carrying us for all these last 2 weeks. Pearson Butler as well. Chris Pett and Jordan out here doing a great job making sure we stay on the air. We appreciate everybody being with us. We're heading back home. We'll be back with you on Monday at noon on Big Blue Kickoff Live. Paul Dottino will be back. I can only imagine the takes that he's been saving up for the last 2 weeks. So tune in. We'll be back in New Jersey in a few days. Until then, we have practice next 2 days. Stay tuned to Giants.com, Giants app, all of our platforms as we continue our coverage of Giants practice from here in West Virginia. For Brandon London, I'm John Schmeelk. We'll see you next time, everybody. Have a great weekend.